Hi there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anita Adefuye. I wear many hats for those who don't know. I'm an author. I am a coach, a career coach. I run my own business. I'm a strategy and policy expert. That's what I do for my 9-to-5 job, but I apply those things to my life and to people around me. I run a women community group. I work with teenagers. I work with women. Yeah, I'm a mother and a wife. And this is my YouTube channel. Oh, and I'm a blogger as well. So this is my YouTube channel, and here I talk about all the different things that I do. So you'll find content on career, you'll find content on sexual violence, which is what my book is based on my own personal story, but even much more than that, on a lot of educational pieces contained within my book as well. On here you'll find talk about life and even the things I blog about. So my blog is called loudsilences.org. And the main theme of it really is undoing the culture of silence. So you would really hear a lot about it. So yeah, like I said, I wear many hats. Sometimes it's hard for me to describe myself when people say to do that. So, and that has taken a whole minute and 19 seconds. So I took a big break from YouTubing for a while because it was hard to keep up with. And now I decided, you know what? I'm a mother and I wear all these different hats. So I will do things part-time at my own pace because, I mean, who made the rules, right? Also, if I can, I edit my videos. And if I can't, I don't edit them. So whatever you see is unscripted. Enjoy it as much as you can. On our way to perfection, we deal with consistency. And that's the route that I decided to take. So bear with me. It doesn't change the value that you get from the videos. And I can assure you about that. So stay with me, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Like this video, please comment. I want to hear thoughts, especially even about today's topic. I really want to hear what people think about it, what you have done. I just want to hear everything, okay? So today, what I want to talk about actually stem from a lot of questions that I get from people who are schooling, people who are mothers who are also schooling. And the reason they keep asking me is because, hello, I wear many hats, but in the midst of all of these things, at some point in my life, I went back to school. So a quick story on that one. I arrived to Canada 2015. I did a whole bunch of career needs assessment for myself, determined what I needed. A master's degree happened to be one of those things that I needed. And so I had a 2-month-old baby. I had to go back to work because part of filling that gap meant I needed money to go to school. And so I set a year plan for myself to work and raise some money and get back to school. And I started school when my baby was just about a year old. And I had a 4-year-old at the time as well. So a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I quit my job to start school. It didn't even take one semester to be done before I realized, oh my God, I need more money. So I had to go back to working. So I went through 2 years of schooling, doing a master's degree, raising 2 kids. I had to get back to working full-time. At some point, I actually had 2 jobs. I was heading about 3 units at church at the time. And then there's all the other things that come up too. Plus, I still had life to live. I still had a husband, still have the husband and children to take care of. I told you guys this is unscripted. And I think I kind of like this vibe. It makes me feel like I'm really gisting with my friends on the other end. And you guys really are friends and family. So if there are foes among you, hey, this girl here don't take no hate. So please show me nothing but love. Anyway, I digress. So that was what it was. And so I did all of that in that span of time going through school. And somehow I still managed to badge about 3 different scholarships and finish with a distinction. Yes, pretty big deal, I know. And so I get people asking me a lot of questions. How did you do it? How do you do it? You know, and every year I review my life and say I'm taking things out, and every year feels like I add more things. So bear with me. I'm loving it, I think. Anyway, so I get a lot of that question. And this year in particular, I have more people asking that question. And I figured, you know what? I will do a video, because if I try to answer each person one by one, I mean, it's a lot of ask on my time. So I just thought I'll do a video and I'll share with everyone. So please don't be stingy with this video. Share with loved ones, share with everyone. If you know a student, you will save their lives. Please share this with them. These are the things that I applied to my life, how I applied them, and it really helped me. It really worked. So today I'm going to be sharing very quickly, and I wrote it down so I don't forget, 10 things. 10 things, and I feel like it's really more than 10, because as I talk, more things will pop out at me. But I thought through about this, and this was like the main 10 things that really jumped out for me, that helped me succeed as a student, do all of the things that I do, wear my many hats, and still succeeded. So I'm going to share, and I'll share with you where I failed as well, because y'all know I like to keep it real. I like to keep things real. Honestly, anyway, I don't live the gram life, so I like to keep things real. Let's leave it at that. All right, so how to succeed as a student in Canada. Number one, I have my notes here. Anyway, number one, set a goal. Set a goal before time. Before you start, set a goal. Here's the truth. If you have a goal of, I just want to pass, you will study to just want to pass. If you have a goal of, I want to be XYZ, you will work hard in that same direction. All right? Your whole being only goes where your vision lies. It's as far as your eyes can see that your mind will work. All right? So for me, I had a goal. So I had wanted to do a research-based master's degree, but I didn't have a supervisor that was available for what I wanted at the time. So I was advised to do a course-based master's program. And I asked the prof, I said, look, I want to do a PhD, God helping me once I'm done, you know, and how does that impact my PhD? And he said, just have a really high grade and that would help you. So I set my grades. That was number one. Number two, I also realized that, because I like free money, and I also realized that there were grade benchmarks to be eligible for most of the scholarships, actually all of the scholarships, quite frankly. And so I looked at what the benchmark was. It was 75. So I set a benchmark to say at any given point in time, I cannot go below an 80 just so I can be really high up there to qualify for most of the scholarships. I had not very intentional ways set a greater distinction goal for myself, but I knew deep down in my heart I was really gunning for a distinction. So set a goal, and quite frankly, like I said, you only put in as much work as you set the vision for. Okay, and so write the vision down, make it plain that he that readeth may run with it. Right, and that's a verse in the Bible. It's in the book of Habakkuk, you know, and that's what I did. So I ran with that. And it really helped me. So anytime I want to slack, like I was constantly watching my grades to make sure that it was never below that, because I had a PhD to be eligible for. I had all this free money on the table. I ain't going to leave them right there. I mean, who's going to spend it if I don't, right? So anyway, so set a goal before you even start. Determine where you want to go with your career, with your academics. Well, it does impact your career. Anyway, number two. Be ready before classes begin. And what do I mean by this? So before classes begin for each semester, I would actually go into all of the courses. I mean, I knew all the courses that I needed to do to complete my program. I knew what those courses were. I knew what terms each one was offered even before. And so I had mapped out and planned how it would go, because here's what I didn't want. I wanted to finish, I started September 2017, and I wanted to be done by June. I wanted to be convocating by June 2019. And I didn't want a situation where a course that I need to take in winter 2019 is only offered in the fall, but then I plan to take it winter 2019, get to winter 2019 only to find that out. I don't want that to happen. So I had mapped out to say, okay, here's what's going to happen. And every semester I will review that to see where I'm at, to see what needs to change. And that was important because sometimes they change class schedules. So you have to always review those. All right. And I don't want, and I saw this happen to some of my classmates. Okay. So it's not, it happens. All right. And people were having extended semesters they didn't plan to have because they didn't plan, you know, their classes ahead of time. And so when I planned those classes, I also would know what assignments I needed to do, when those assignments needed to be done, by, and I'll plan around all of those things. And so just be ready before classes begin. Know what textbooks you need and start sourcing for them. If you're like me that sometimes like to buy them cheap from others, then you want to start sourcing for those textbooks ahead of time. You don't want to keep sourcing for $20 textbook because you want to spend $200, you know, halfway into the semester. Anyway, you get the drift. All right, so map out. The other thing too is map out your exam due dates. Map out your assignment due dates. These were things that I did, and I would often just plan around all of those things. If you see me looking down, I'm just trying to make sure that I captured everything in my notes, because anyway. And then number 3, this really ties into number 2 very well, because it is important. Do all your assignments and get them ready ahead of time. So this is why mapping out your dates are important. So what I will typically do is, I had my charts and stuff, and I wish I can show you guys, but I don't want to start digging through things. So if say my assignment was due, if I had an assignment due say September 19th, I would put that September 19th date, but then I would set my calendar to get the assignment done September 12th. Now, why is this important? And this is even a trick, maybe bonus. This is one of the bonus points that I'll share with you. So what most people don't know is that in Canada, if you're schooling, you can actually send your assignments to your profs ahead of time to review it and offer you some feedback. I know. If you're where I'm from, you're probably thinking, what? Anyway, so y'all just keep it a secret. I am Canadian. Anyway, so you can send them ahead. So that's what I usually did, is I will send my assignments, especially when I'm not feeling sure about what I think the lecturer is looking for. I will send my assignments ahead of time and say, hey, here's what I think I understand about the assignments. Here's what I have. Can you review and give me feedback, just to make sure I'm on the right track? And they often, 99% of the time, they'll give you feedback, and then you can really know what they want, and you can make corrections, and you still have time. So that's what I used to do. Second reason why you want to set your deadlines ahead of your deadlines is that, and this happened to me once or twice, was that, in fact, the one time I decided to leave my assignments to the last deadline, guys. Seriously speaking, that one time, I crashed it. After 8 hours, I took 8 hours of my day, of my weekend, went to school, sat down, crashed this assignment. And after spending 8 hours, I don't know what devil bewitched my computer. It just went off on me. I don't even know what happened. I lost everything. I cried like a baby. I sent an email straight away to the prof and I said, please, I need an extension. Here's what happened. I'm so sorry. And this is why excellence and diligence is good. Now, when I sent this message to the prof, luckily it wasn't the first time he was dealing with me. And he knew that I was always on time, always on time. And so he said, hey, look, Annie, it's okay. I believe you. If you see something happen, you're a very studious student. So I'll give you the time you need. Here, I was even hoping, I was asking and begging for 3 days. Uncle gave me 1 full week. So anyway, I worked with 3 days deadline. So please, imagine if I had stuck to my routine of a week ahead. Even if I had that issue, I'd still have time to go back and redo my assignment. So that's why it's important to do that. So do all your assignments ahead. And then plan and schedule rest and recovery. Guys, you know how I said that I would tell you where I messed up? This is where. I feel like my 2 years, I just kind of soldiered through it. I mean, at some point, I was still, okay, that was when I was working, but you know, I feel like I soldiered through the 2 years, and I was just always on constant overdrive. Like, it was just one thing to another. Like, I legit was sleeping like 3 hours a night. And that's even a very good night's sleep. I kid you not. And it wasn't healthy. It wasn't. I lost my baby fat, or at least I was losing all my, you know, postpartum fat, you know, and I was doing well. And during the time of my study, like, I gained so much weight. And guys, I'm still struggling to lose that weight. If you know me, you know, I'm sure weight loss is one of my major goals. Y'all pray for me. All right. So, and I wasn't sleeping well. I was constantly stressed out, and stress is a silent killer for a lot of students. So many students give up on their courses. So many students fall out of their programs. I mean, I was doing 5 classes a semester. It was great. I wanted to finish, but I never really scheduled my rest time as much as I should have. I mean, I had the moments where I'll just program a day, and I still did this to some degree, but not as much as I should have. I didn't work it in with everything on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so please, 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 please don't make that same mistake, because some people pay for it with their lives. It's no wonder a lot of students, there's a high rate of suicidal rates among students because they are stressed. It's not every societal, issue that is demonic per se, or is because there was trauma. Sometimes it's just really extreme stress. All right. And for me, I know I had trauma, so it triggered a lot of things for me. The good news is all of that eventually led to me publishing my book, but that's a story for another day. But plan and schedule your rest. Please, 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 very important. Always plan to re-energize, to rejuvenate. You'd even be better when you do that. I promise you. I mean, for me, I'm very crazy about I have to succeed academically, but there were other ways that I suffered for it, and that wasn't fun. So please plan and schedule your rests. Okay. Engage and use study groups and ask lots of questions. I am not, if you see me in an interview and I'm answering the question of, tell me how you did on a team, and I use this example, I am not lying. But at the same time, I'm not very big on study groups personally. But there were times that I didn't have a choice and I had to. But if you find a course where you're struggling, it comes in very, very handy. And I struggle with statistics. I still got my grade that I needed, but I struggled through it. But study groups are very helpful. And even if it doesn't have to be a large group, quite frankly, just even a small group of 1 or 2 persons who you know are really great in that area, just talk to them to say, hey, I'm struggling, help me. Engage study groups. It'll help you. Okay, engage study groups. That's all I'll say on that one. And ask questions when you're there. Okay, so number 7, we're actually on number 7. Yay! Know how you will be graded. This one, maybe it's tied to the assignment one, doing your assignments, but know how you'll be graded. All right, every lecturer has a different grading system. So some people might place more weight on your assignments, and then maybe 20 or 30% for your 20 or 30% for your exams. Some people will place more weight on the exams. So each lecturer grades differently. I had this one course where you actually do labs every day, every single day. And each of those labs took about a mark. No, not every day in the course. I can't remember for how long. Oh, it was every week. Sorry, it was every week. It was every week. So there was how many weeks of class? About 10 weeks of class. I can't remember, guys. But anyway, there was a number of class sets, and then there was labs to do. And those labs alone actually accounted for like 25%. All right. Anyway, but know how you're graded. That's the most important thing. Okay. Because if a lot of students, and if you're Nigerian, like I am partially, then you know that there's a lot of emphasis on exams. And I've seen international students come here and make that mistake where they expect to put all that weight on the exam, and they don't do their assignments, or they don't do it on time. They're, like I said, lackadaisical with it. And then you keep losing all these little grades. But then before you know, they add up to make up at least 50% of your total grades for the year or for the semester. That means no matter how good you are in the exam, you've already failed. And that's the truth. So don't be caught unawares. Understand how you're going to be graded and know and act accordingly. That way you also can track your progress as you go. Because I have had scores where I graded so high in assignments, and then I get to the end of the exam and I see my final grade and I'm like, okay, no, that is not my grade. I can question that because I've been, tracking my performance. So know how you're graded. Okay, so number 8, speak up in class. This one is very close to know how you're graded. Speak up in class, guys. No matter how you're graded, there's always a 10% that goes toward participatory mark. Now, how this is apportioned or how this will be appropriated differs from lecturer to lecturer, all right? I had this one lecturer who would just tell you grade yourself at the end of the semester. I love that one. And he didn't really give participatory marks for how much you say or speak or not in class. So the way participatory marks work is that they're looking for, it's just your participation in class. So if there are discussions, you're engaging, You're asking questions, you're contributing to class conversations. That's what it is. So even if you just have to rinse and repeat what somebody else have said, please rinse and repeat, but do not keep quiet. They say a closed mouth is a closed destiny. This is one of those moments. A closed mouth is a 10% deducted destiny. Maybe not the destiny, but your academics. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I played so much. Anyway, I'm sorry. See, I should really be editing these videos. All right. Number 9. Understand how you understand. This one is important because this is about you. I have to be in class. I have to hear what they teach. I mean, I can do self-study. Don't get me wrong. I can and I will do self-study. But I prefer to be in class. Some people don't mind. They don't mind being in class. All right. So I like when I'm in class, I don't forget that easily. When I'm in class and I have to take notes, okay? So that's how I study. I can study whether or not there is noise. As a matter of fact, I did most of my study most of the time at home with kids shouting around me. I can hold a baby in one hand and study in another hand, all right? Quite frankly, I won't even lie. Studying comes a little easy for me, all right? I am wired that way. I love school. In case you haven't observed, I love school, all right? I love to study. But it comes a little easier for me, and I recognize that it's not the same for everybody, and that's fine, okay? But that's why you need to understand how you study. Some people do well when they go to class and then leverage group discussions. Some people do better when they find a quiet place, because this would also determine how you plan yourself and plan your time. And I should say about planning is you want to plan in such a way that you tie everything around your school schedule. And what do I mean by that? It's that if your classes, map out your class already. I attended U of R, Johnson Sherman Graduate School of Public Policy, and they have like visual builders. You can visually build your class and see where what falls, right? And then you plan your work around that as well. So if especially if you're doing shift jobs or anything, then you can pick up shifts. For international students, you already know, I don't need to have to tell you. If you don't know, however, you are not allowed to work more than 20 hours during school seasons. If you're a domestic student, you don't have any such restriction. Like I said, I worked full time and at some point had about 2 jobs that I was working while schooling. All right. So there are no restrictions for me. Still, I intentionally at the time went back into retail job because I wanted to be able to have that flexibility to plan myself around my schedule and around my family as much as I could. Didn't exactly succeed so well now, but I did my best. Okay, no, I did my best. Actually, I did. Because I still did school runs. Anyway, so yes. So, understand how you study and plan accordingly. Okay? And then, number 9 is understand how your lecturer wants their questions answered. So, I had this one lecturer one time who, he might ask you, define this. If you define it and you move on, you have failed. I know, it just says define. It doesn't say explain. Now, what he wants is you define it. So say, what can I use? Nothing is coming to mind right now. But if he tells you to define economics, he wants you to not only define economics, I just give it away. He wants you to not only define economics, but also define it and apply it practically. So, for instance, if you, let me use this one. Actually, I liked this one. So if you use opportunity costs, yeah, I like that one. I like that one. So if you use opportunity costs, you define opportunity costs, and then you have to practically show him and say, so for instance, I spent these 20 minutes making this video. The opportunity cost for that is 20 minutes I could have spent sleeping, right? Right. So he wants you to give those kinds of example. Whereas some other persons, when they tell you define, they don't want stories. They just want define. Define means define. Period. Deal with it. Move on. Okay? So that's what that is. So understand how the lecturer wants you to answer questions. Very important. This is where even doing your assignments ahead of time and sending it to them makes sense, because it gives you insights into the mind of the lecturer and how they like things answered, because they'll respond. The very studious ones would even give you track changes, comments, and everything. All right. Oh, and I should mention no plagiarism. Guys, no plagiarism. Even if they don't ask you to, always try to put your stuff through Turnitin or any other application out there. I use Turnitin a lot. Some lecturers even required you to when submitting to them. Others didn't. I used it a lot. So do make sure you keep it under, I think, 10 or 12%. I can't remember really. You can just Google that out on your own. But yeah, no plagiarism. Okay, and then finally, number 10. Yeah, we made it, and it's not as short as I hoped it will be. Number 10, pray. I'm a Christian. I've never had hidden. I've never hidden that part of me, and I don't intend to start now. All right. So here's the thing. Whether I prayed for God to tell me the hearts of the lecturers, I prayed for God to give me favor, I prayed for God to give me insight, I prayed for God to give me strength. As a matter of fact, I caught my unhealthy pattern and habit before I finished school. It's just that at that point, most of the damage had already been done, unfortunately, right? But it was even in the place of prayer and seeking and asking and talking to God that a lot of things really even started unveiling. And even in that place of prayer where I felt so stressed and I went back to God and I was crying my heart out, was where I also got the revelation to write my book, Revealed. If you haven't gotten it, please grab a copy. Link will be in there. And even in the book, I mentioned this because it was at the peak of all this that, you know, the birthing of Revealed, or the manifestation of it really started to play out, right? And so I prayed through all of these things. And quite frankly, every time my classmates would ask me questions like, wow, you're taking 5 classes and you're still one of the best in class and you're doing this and you're doing that. Even when they ask me those questions and they say, how are you doing it? Quite frankly, I tell them, honestly, one word, Jesus. Because the truth is that depth of strength, I don't know if it's natural, guys, honestly speaking, because I love to cook for my family and I still cooked for them. Like I still did everything that any typical normal human being would do. I still found time to hang out with friends and family. I mean, as much as I could, right? My time was very valuable to me. So yes, did I do some prioritization? Absolutely, yes. But I still found time to do the things that I felt were important to me. All right. And so all that strength, all that wisdom, even the strategies that I would apply, the systems that I put in place to help me succeed, all of those things, I kid you not, it was the wisdom of God, and I will give glory where glory is due. Quite frankly, the doors that opened up for me, the favor that I enjoyed going through school, like honestly, it is beyond me. And I know for sure that it wasn't all my doing. So please, it is not cliche when people say pray through everything. I pray about the weirdest things, like guys, I pray about the weirdest things, you know. So yeah, I mean, really, pray and trust God is what I would say, because at the end of the day, that's your maker and he cares about your success. He does. I remember one time I was getting so freaked out, and in a place of prayer, I just said, I was like, God, I don't even know what to say. I don't even want to pray. And he said, oh, it's okay. I got you, baby. I do. And he said, do you really think that you want to succeed more than I want you to succeed? God wants you to succeed, and that's the truth. All right. So, but how you communicate your heart to him, your weaknesses to him, is in the place of prayer. So guys, if you're a Christian, this is a call out. Please feel free. Hit me up. I will walk you through the process. All right. I will walk you through. It ain't that hard. It's just say with your mouth, believe with your heart. Bam, bam, bam. You're born again. And then you start the life of faith. All right. And then you grow through it. All right. Anyway. But I wish all the students in this academic year all the best. I hope that you found this video really helpful. Those are the things that I have. All right. Oh, one thing I should also mention, never leave free money on the table. Guys, work at your grades so that you can grab all the free money. There's scholarship even for international students. All right. So please grab as much as you can. I enjoyed it. All right. And I wish you all the best in this school year. I pray that God would help you, strengthen you, favor you, open doors for you, and that you will succeed. He will crown all your efforts with success in Jesus' name. Until next time, have a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time you get to catch this. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. I mean it. Hit that button. I play